Hi everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Paul, and on today's video I'll be showing you an issue one of my customers had with their tufting gun and the solution we came up with in order to get their gun back up and running. As you may know, we have a website, rugbabe.com, where we sell tufting guns and tufting material such as monk's cloth in order to help you guys out in your rug making process. You could also contact us at support@rugbabe.com, where we could help you out with any tufting questions or see if we have any solutions if you have any problems with your tufting gun. Now for today's video, we were contacted by somebody about an issue they had with their tufting gun. They stated that all of a sudden their tufting gun stopped working and it would no longer spin. They were unsure what the problem was and didn't want to mess up the gun anymore, so they decided to send it to us in order for us to repair the gun and send it back. So the first thing we do is quickly look over the gun to make sure nothing's broken and that there are no missing parts. So this gun does look like it was used, and it did work. You can see the oil marks in a circle, meaning it did run before, but now for some reason it doesn't. Since nothing seems to be visibly broken or any parts missing, let's go ahead and quickly run the gun to see if it starts up. So judging by our quick test, we know the gun wants to run, but for some reason it just can't. So now that I looked over the gun and made sure it wasn't broken or missing parts and quickly ran the gun to see if it spins, let's start taking off some of these parts to get deeper into the gun and see what the issue is. Here all I'm doing is taking off the handle and the fabric guard to make it easier to work on. Now that we got both of those removed, let's go ahead and completely remove both arms from either side of the gun. We always recommend not to remove the arms completely from the gun, but in this case we kind of have to in order to get into the gun and see what's wrong. So now that everything's removed and nothing is connected, let's go ahead and run the gun again and see if it spins. So now we know that the gun works, and the issue is that the tubes are both stuck. So if you take a look at the front inside of the gun, you could actually see what's causing it to stick. It's these two long screws. What I'm assuming happened is the person took apart their gun and put it back together, but for some reason put these longer screws. And then when they ran their gun, the screws caused it to get stuck. So now what we have to do is, again, take the gun further apart to see if we could get inside and get it unstuck. So the next step would be to take off the guide rails that attach the arms to the tubes. Remember, if your tufting gun isn't working, you could always contact us at support@rugbabe.com, and we're more than willing to help you guys out even if you didn't get your tufting gun with us. Now that we removed the arms and the rails from your gun, let's go ahead and remove the whole front end. We could do this with the small Allen wrench in your tool set. If you guys are new to tufting or rug making, please feel free to check out some of our other helpful videos on our YouTube channel, or go on our website, rugbabe.com, to order your own tufting gun or buy tufting materials such as monk's cloth. So now that we have the front end taken off by taking off those 4 screws, let's look inside to see what we could see. So I'm assuming now that the owner of this gun had the same idea we did, take the gun apart and see why it is stuck. And as we could see, the owner did try this and try to either get it unstuck by hitting it with a screwdriver or something else. So now with the proper tools, we'll go ahead and take it apart the proper way. Here I've pushed it out about halfway and you could see those 2 long screws that shouldn't be there. But for some reason, they're still stuck. This goes to show me that there is a second issue with the gun, something else that was put together wrong that's causing it to remain stuck. So let's push it out the rest of the way. Now that we have both tubes out, you could kind of see where the owner used maybe a screwdriver or something else to try to push out these 2 tubes. In order to show you guys how they should be, I went ahead and took off the tubes from my own gun, knowing that they both work perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and compare both needles, mine and the customer's, to see if there's anything that stands out right away to us. And the most obvious thing is those two big screws that the customer put in instead of the ones that should be on the gun. You could see mine are even and flat and the other ones are protruding out. Remember, if there's any reason you want to take apart your gun, let's say to change out your scissors, go ahead and watch our other YouTube video where we go ahead and show you the proper way to do this. Besides that, there's also something else I just noticed that we couldn't see earlier because the gun was stuck and not moving. It's the tension bar. For some reason, this tension bar is very loose. This should be tight against the needle. This possibly caused the second jam, which didn't let that scissors and needle come out of the gun. What I'm assuming is the tension bar is either bent or put backwards. This is not allowing it to have that tension needed and be tight against the needle. Now let's further take apart the needle by taking off the opening bar. And yep, I was right. Here you can see that tension bar was placed upside down. That's what allowed it to be so loose and possibly caused that second jam. So now I'll take apart the needle on my tube and show you guys the way it should look. So here's a side-by-side comparison. You can clearly see that one was placed upside down. This is why it was so loose, and this is why probably it had that second jam. So knowing that my needle needs no more attention, we could go ahead and put it back together. And if you guys have any questions on how to put your gun back together, you could go ahead and check out our other YouTube video that shows you how to do this. So as you can see here, these are the actual screws that should go and attach the needle to the tube. The shorter screw goes on the front hole and the larger screw goes on the back hole. This allows them both to set flush. So now with the proper screws, we can see that they both set flush to the tube and aren't protruding anymore. And now we could go ahead and add that tension bar, making sure to put it the right way this time and not upside down. Remember, if you have any questions about this process, please feel free to email us at support@rugbabe.com and maybe we'll have an answer to your question about tufting or repairing your gun. Since everything's back together, we're making sure that that tension bar is tight against the needle and that both the needles look the same now. So now that we're sure we put them both back together correctly and that they both should work properly, we could go ahead and move on to our scissors and see if there's an issue with the scissors like there was with the needle. So here are both the scissors side by side, mine and the customer's, and right away I could see a few things that pop out. Here we could see that during the jam, there was actually so much tension that the closing block on the needle actually scraped and scratched the scissors. And you could also see that again, for some reason, the wrong screw was used, causing this to happen. What we have to do now is take apart the scissors, replace that screw, and see what other issues might have happened. I'll also go ahead and take the scissors on my tube apart to show you what they should look like. Here you can more clearly see that one screw sticks out way further than the other one. And this is how they should look with the proper screws. We also sanded down those scratches which caused unneeded friction in the gun, and now let's go ahead and put it all back together. So now that both our scissors are put back together properly, we could do our final little quick test, which is making sure that there's no added friction between the needle and the scissors as we move them back and forth on top of each other. And that's it. We could go ahead and put our gun back together now, knowing that all the screws are the correct ones and our gun is put back together properly. Here's a quick version of me putting the gun back together. I did go ahead and add some oil to make sure everything runs smooth and there is no added friction in the gun. Remember guys, on our website we do offer email support for any questions about tufting or any issues with your tufting guns. We also have video support for the same thing. And don't be scared to admit your limitations on working on these guns. You could always schedule to send it to us for a small charge and we'll fix your gun here at our shop. It doesn't matter where you got your gun, if it was from us or through somebody else, we are willing to help out anybody out there. Also, we have a bunch of other videos on our YouTube channel, and you could always check out our website if you want to buy your own tufting gun or need tufting materials at rugbabe.com. So on to the final step, making sure it cuts. Let's see. And now to make sure it does tough, straight, and even lines, let's test it out on our fabric. So that's it. We were able to figure out what the problems were and figure out how to solve them. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe in order to get more videos in the future. Thanks.